I'm making this video as a bit of a response, but not really a response per se, to Mr. Tomo's recent Bleach vid regarding Kyouraku Shunsui's Bankai. I'm a pretty big fan of Mr. Tomo. Sorry I can't be a patron right now, but when I return from Japan, expect a gift once I get my finances sorted. I think the video does a really good job of explaining the Bankai, and of course I will link the video in the description. I think it's a great video, and you definitely should watch it whether or not you decide to watch this video. Love my man's Mr. Tomo. Anyway, I was thinking about the Bankai, and while it is theatrical in every sense of the word, I think it's a pretty garbage Bankai. That's not to say I don't like the Bankai for what it is. I think it's really cool, really. I just think that as a weapon, it sucks. Let's look at the Bankai. First, I'll recap what the Bankai is and does, and then we'll talk about why I think it's useless. The Bankai goes through the story of a 4-act play. In Act 1, the sharing of the wounds. Injuries inflicted by one party are received by the other. In the manga, Shunsui had yet to injure his foe, but presumably had he done so, it would have bounced back onto him as well. Which is kind of telling for Shunsui as a character, since he would rather avoid conflict and thus avoid inflicting wounds onto others if he can. In Act 2, the wounds bubble and burst with blood. Mr. Tomo hypothesizes that you can skip receiving the effects of this act if you didn't injure your foe for Act 1. You don't have any hard proof, but I think it's a fair guess to make. In Act 3, all participants are thrust into an infinite sea, which will drain their Ryatsu until it's exhausted. Presumably, Shunsui can end this at any time, but I feel like it's more in character to at least require that one person die from it. In Act 4, should someone try to escape the infinite sea, a white string will manifest around the fleeing individual's neck, or maybe only Shunsui himself can do that, and they are killed. If no one tries to flee Act 3, Act 4 is not triggered. I believe that if Shunsui, though he wouldn't do this, tried to escape, he too would be cut down by his own Bankai. So why do I think his Bankai is useless? It's because in general I view weapons as force multipliers. They make someone who was maybe on par with you suddenly more deadly than you. It's why you bring a gun to a knife fight and stay very, very far away. I do not view Shinsui's Bankai as a force multiplier. The Bankai theoretically, I suppose, has a force multiplier of infinity, as in it's an instant kill. However, that assumes that all 4 acts play out. If you don't fight Act 3, theoretically, Act 4 never comes about. The problem with Act 3 is that it seems to be based on the total Ryatsu of both participants, which means it won't beat a stronger opponent if they simply decide to wait it out. And it won't beat an evenly matched opponent, or I guess maybe it will, but if you consider a draw, they'll both run out of Ryatsu at the same time. It's possible that the Act 3 Ryatsu drain is faster for people who aren't Shunsui, but I don't want to leap to that conclusion without some kind of primary source material. I also think that since the whole sort of theme in Shinsui's Zanpakuto is that the rules are the same for everybody involved, I don't think it's that way. I just don't think it's that way in general. This brings us to what I think the fundamental flaw in Shinsui's Bankai is. If Shunsui is stronger than his opponent, he doesn't need it. If he isn't stronger than his opponent, he relies on his opponent playing into Act 4. Ironically, this brings up the question of what if Shunsui had used his Bankai on Coyote Stark. I do remember him being about to bring it out before Ukitake comes in and tells him not to. I don't think Stark would have tried to flee Act 3. So if Stark had more Ryatsu than Shunsui probably would have lost. So yeah, I don't think the Bankai is very good. But that's really all I have to say about this one. Thanks for watching.